What the hell? What? Was I live? Did the stream just start? I recorded my rap, right? I better have recorded my rap. Did you guys hear my rap? Did you guys hear my rap? I just rapped. Did you guys hear my rap? That's upsetting if you didn't hear my rap. I don't know if I started the stream yet. I don't know if you heard my rap. Did you hear my rap? Did you hear my rap? Did you hear my rap? I was rapping my butt off, dude. I was rapping my butt off to make sure you heard the rap. And now no one heard the rap, dude. I don't think my stream started early enough to hear the rap. Did anyone hear my rap? I'm live. I'm not late. Did anyone hear my rap? You heard my rap? Oh, thank God. Thank God. Whew, I thought that was wasted. Okay, like, sub, call in. I'm gonna be amazing. Okay, here we go. So, I am unsettled today. I am very unsettled with the state of America. God bless America. I don't like Nazis. But I do love Mr. Trump. Okay. No. Here, call in. Like. Sub. There you go. How are you guys doing? How's America feeling? Any good news today? I heard Chuck Schumer went on a tour. Heil Trump. Here. Call in, like, sub. There you go. I want to talk about... I feel like I'm just going to make my thing racism today. Racism. I love racism. Ooh, wait a second. Wait a second. Okay. I have to put one more thing on my screen. Here, let's take that off. And then we'll put another text bubble in. Judge is mad. Prove you're not racist. Am I on sub-only mode? No, I'm on anyone can chat. You met your favorite baseball player. Catch you later, Cam. Hope you're not busy too long. Are Trump voters racist? Okay, so I have this right here. Prove you're not racist. I think this is a good way to get people on your side, is to just call them racist. That's what the kids are saying. Yes, wait. I don't know if people want to call into the show anymore. They can't really defend much of what's happening. I have to start making films. Motivational films and speeches. Because I don't know if the call-in streams will get people. Everyone's too scared to back up their God King. Prove you're not racist. It's going to be my new show idea, is Prove You're Not Racist. There's a couple stories that happened today that are insane. I was going to make a longer, like a little scripted talk about this one thing that happened with the one guy, with the one immigrant guy. But, oh yeah, this right here, by the way. I was talking to my friend the other day about fascism, and we saw drones in China. And I said, wow, these coordinated drones can do a pretty light show, but I bet they're going to use it for fascism eventually. Like, eventually, they're going to use all these drones to make a big image in this guy of a dictator, okay? I told my friend they're going to use drones to make an image in the sky of a dictator a couple days ago, before I saw this video. By the way, this is surpassing North Korean levels of propaganda, or it's at least meeting. This is North Korea propaganda. It's the same propaganda North Korea would use, maybe more intense, honestly. Better funded, but the same strategies, same words. There's Trump on Mount Rushmore, of course, baby. Imagine you look in the sky, you hear RoboShop, beep. You are now being surveilled. You are now being surveilled. And it's a big picture of Trump in the sky with a bunch of little drones. There's going to be a drone to follow every American. You see Hungary passed their new anti-gay law, and now you can no longer have pride flags in public or you get jailed. And it's now legal in Hungary to use facial recognition technology to find people and track them. And JD Vance said he wants to model America after Hungary. So again, killing more constitutional freedoms. Awesome. Liberator of hostages. Well, America's taking hostages right now. What is this right here? What is this? I'm kind of defenders of freedom. Is that Israel? Is that Israel? I think it is. I think it is. Thank you, President Trump. Literal North Korean propaganda. Literal North Korean propaganda. Very intense North Korean propaganda. Anyways, Trump voters, prove you're not racist. Prove you're not racist, please. Are you racist? Step right up. We got some racists. You want to call in if you're racist? If you're not racist? Prove you're not racist. Call in. Prove you're not racist. Let me know how not racist you are. Please, please, please. I want to know how not racist you are. Please, I want to talk about some constitutional freedoms. I want to talk about some American freedom, dude. Well, I mean, like, you know, Joe Rogan is now questioning the Holocaust. So, I mean, if Joe Rogan's questioning the Holocaust, that means your friends are. I mean, that means the people that you drive with in public or that drive next to you in public are questioning the Holocaust now. Thank God. Thank you, Joe Rogan. I love Joe Rogan. Thank you for that, Joe Rogan. I'm so happy Joe Rogan has people questioning the Holocaust now. How are you not racist? Yeah, I want to talk about racism today. I really want to talk about racism today. Please. Yeah, it's a free call. You can call in. Yeah, there's no one else talking right now. Just call in. It's super easy. It's a fun time. The JFK files. I'm going to be like CNN and cover the JFK files. Let's see. So Donald Trump released the JFK finals. Trump released the same JFK files that Biden released. That's awesome. That's awesome, bro. I'm so happy that Donald Trump is lying to his... I mean, that's the good part too. Trump is proving like he can hide the JFK information. He can hide the Epstein information, you know, because he's probably, you know, in the Epstein information. But my least favorite part, I see people saying like, where is the deep state? Why is the deep state letting all this happen, bro? Why is the deep state letting us kill USAID? And why is the deep state like letting Trump do all this? And it's like, bro, maybe the deep state you're all talking about is not some big conspiracy. Maybe it's not. Maybe some people make mistakes. Maybe some people work in different departments over time. Maybe some people just like do a job. You know, maybe it's not some huge nefarious deep state. Honestly, the deep state is probably who you voted for. If we're gonna be honest about deep state and about people who are not public facing, you probably voted in the deep state in 2024. To be honest, the deep state just learned how to get a bunch of dumb voters on their side by weaponizing race issues and social issues. Like, if you live in a reality where Elon Musk is not the deep state, you have to chill. You have to chill. Elon Musk is not the deep state. You know who is? George Soros. George Soros is the deep state. George Soros gave money once to a campaign in a state once. What is Elon saying about... Oh, the freaking... Yeah, that's the funny... Oh, man. Tesla stock is still going down. That's really cool. After hours. Dang! Wow. Even after hours is collapsing a little bit. It's cool. What is this a picture of? What is this picture? What are these symbols on the car? I don't recognize these symbols. I don't know where they came from. Does anyone know what these symbols are? This is a real picture, by the way. This is real. This is a very real picture.
This is Jared Mason. I'm calling in to speak on your podcast about your claim that Trump hates America, and to prove you wrong. I'd be more than happy to debate with you on.
Hi, I'm trying to call a number that I see on YouTube, and I just want to tell you I enjoy your program. Thank you. Thank you for standing up for right.
Bro, call me back. This is Eagles fan, man. You're not making no sense, bro. You act like you've got all this information like more than we do. It's like we all have the internet. We all watch the news. We all watch our own media outlets. We all can fact check by just researching and looking online. We all can go outside and
bro, your research is probably the Joe Rogan podcast.
See egg prices go up. All this.
Yes, research is seeing egg prices and gas prices change. That's what research actually means. That's research. That is research, bro. That is definitely what research is, bro.
Shit we're talking about on the chat. Let me call in and let's have a real debate, because you sound like you're just stuck on the left side and you don't actually see how a tariff or essentially stopping the bleeding is going to help in the future. I mean, that's what Trump's trying to do. He's trying to stop.
By the way,
we're constantly
this
giving.
This is a voicemail. If you need to talk about economic policy or tariffs or whatever it might be, in terms such as fundamentals or stopping the bleeding or get your head in the game, if you're going to use like sports cliches and a bunch of slogans, you don't understand what's happening. You just don't understand what's happening. And that's fine. You know, I know a lot of policy because I have studied policy for many years of my life. Okay? If you're going to use things such as stop the bleeding, bro, you got to stop the bleeding, you don't know. You're being told what concepts to believe in. You don't understand how these things actually work, and that's fine. That's completely fine. Just don't act like you know. Like, don't get false confidence because someone you trust tells you it on a podcast. You can't trust that. My fellow Americans, like, chill. Make sure you drop a like on the stream. Drop a like so we get in the algorithm. Hopefully get a caller here at some point. Since we're not getting any callers, I gotta find a video to watch, though. Any good videos today? I don't want to watch any videos because it's so painful. Watching these dumb. I could do Asmongold. Nice, dude. This is awesome. Chuck Schumer was out here today. Okay, let's look at the Trump supporting arguments in chat. Thank you. Okay, so Trump equal GOAT. I think TDS syndrome guy liked the butt stuff. Definitely does. Trump train. The debate never changes every time I stumble into this live. It's always the same dismissive behavior. Actually, no, if an adult calls me, we have a good conversation. We have a great conversation. I'm allowed to shit talk. I don't want you to get your feelings all hurt. I know you're a little sad about that. But if our president can call Canada an enemy state and disgusting to work with, and then compliment Russia, then I can be mean to you in chat and you can not cry about it. If our president can disappear innocent people to death camps in El Salvador, then yeah, I can be mean to you when you're in my YouTube chat. Of course I'm allowed to be mean to you. Why would I not be able to? It's my amendment right. Okay. JD Vance got two. JD Vance is a +2 favorability right now. Hell yeah. JD Vance was on TV arguing that multiculturalism is killing society. That's perfect. I love it. You question, like, how did the Nazis do it? And you're like, okay, well, people just believe them. People just believe them every step of the way. You know, if only Hitler had Joe Rogan, it would have been way quicker. Oh, nice. Thank you. Yes, dude. Yes.
Yeah, it turns out when you take away people's, what the money they're receiving fraudulently, they get very upset, and they basically want to kill me because I'm stopping their fraud, and they want to hurt Tesla because we're stopping this terrible waste.
I'm sorry, Elon Musk has not given one piece of evidence. If there was a serious case of fraud where someone's getting money from the government that they're stealing, we would know about it. Elon would talk about it. He would show you. He's lying his butt off. He's been looking really rough lately, by the way. He's been looking terrible. his net worth is collapsing because of the Tesla stock, and people are really selling off. I mean, maybe people will buy back in. I don't know how the stock market works. I know numbers go up and down, but still, regardless, what Musk is saying right here is wild. It's wild, and people just trust there's waste, fraud, and abuse because, I mean, there is waste, fraud, and abuse in government. Of course, there is in every system, but people take his, the optics of that. They trust Elon Musk because he lies to you like a sociopath, and they don't know how government works. And the people that do know how government works, like me, I'm not going to be on Joe Rogan. I'm not going to be a billionaire. I just sound like a whiny liberal on YouTube. So you're not going to listen to me because you have to, like, I don't know, I have to play Fortnite and show you like a train Subway Surfer game for you to listen. So it's really difficult to combat this kind of misinformation, bro.
And corruption in the government. And
he stopped all the corruption.
They're bad people.
They're bad people.
Bad people will do bad things.
My God, dude. Oh my God. Dude, they're bad people. I'm just saving you. I'm saving you. What's the proof of it? Trust me, bro. Trust me, bro. I killed all the waste, fraud, and abuse. What do you think? By the way, if you want to call in, there's a furry ban in Texas.
All right, y'all. So this right here is fun.
There's a furry ban in Texas.
Soul crushing, as I'm going to walk you through. So this is in LGBTQ Nation. I saw this reported in a number of places on top of it, but GOP legislator files bill to stop furries from using litter boxes in schools. So this is in the Texas state legislature.
Bro, it's not happening. The conspiracy theory is sweeping over America. Again, like I said before, it's North Korea level. It's North Korea level propaganda, and including the way people believe it.
And I believe it's literally called the Furries Act. Texas legislature.
Oh, did you see the guy who drafted the law in, I forgot what, was it Michigan? I forgot which state it was. He drafted a law to make TDS an official mental illness. He was going to make Trump derangement syndrome an official mental illness in the state. And an official mental illness. And, he got caught for trying to solicit a 16-year-old girl the same day, by the way.
Representative Stan Gertie.
People that do bills like this, the Furries Act, people like Stan Gerties, you have to check their hard drives.
Has introduced the Furries Act, legislation to punish students who act like non-human animals in schools and penalize schools who allow this behavior. Ladies and gentlemen, what are we even talking about here? Let me reiterate for you what's going on right now. The world's richest man is hacking around in our government and deleting programs he doesn't like, right? They cut off pediatric cancer research, slashed National Institute of Health funding 70%, destroyed the CFPB, which is the anti-scam police, cut flight safety officials as planes are crashing on a regular basis. We don't even need to go through all of it.
Someone said Jolah is racist against black people. Yeah, dude, of course. Yeah, definitely. I am definitely racist against black people, as I am called a race traitor every single day when I'm on YouTube. That's definitely what I am. Thank you for saying that. Keep saying it. Boost my algorithm, please. Boost the algorithm. I need people to watch.
We've gone through it 100 times before. You know what's happening. The world's richest man is slashing government spending, fired anywhere from 100,000 to 250,000 government workers.
You're doing it,
the market is currently tanking. Trump is warmongering with like 7 or 8 different countries and following through on a lot of the threats, bombing Yemen, bombing Somalia. Iran, I'd be worried. Mexico, I'd be worried. Right? Canada wants to make him the 51st state. And what are the Texas Republicans doing? Proposing legislation to ban furries in school. This is not a thing. This is not a thing. The whole genesis of this stems from a literal fake news story which went viral. Okay, by the way, you know who helped spread this? Joe Rogan. You guys remember?
I'm also not for furries in public, by the way. I am not for furries in public, but this is correct, what Kyle's saying. This is not happening.
On his podcast. Bro, I know somebody who...
Also, I don't think it should be illegal because I'm not an authoritarian dipshit. Thank God, dude. God, thank you.
Call from
Jonathan.
Hi.
Hey, Jolah.
Are you Donovan McNabb from the Philadelphia Eagles?
The what?
Is your name Donovan?
Jonathan.
Oh, I thought you said Donovan. I was gonna say, are you Donovan McNabb? I got excited. Okay, yo, what's
I
up?
wish.
Yeah, what do you want to chat about?
Something very quick. I consider myself a progressive, universal health care, all that. I'm all in for that. And but one thing that I kind of would like to, my idea of the border crisis or whatever the Republicans like to talk about, why don't we negotiate, right, with the right-wingers all right, so let's secure the border. Let's use some funding from the military, the DoD, but all the immigrants that we have already here working, we'll fast track them to become whatever, citizens or green cards or whatever. And I mean, let's say if they can, walk the walk instead of talk the talk, and we can put 5,000 border agents, and it's like $100,000 per agent a year. That's nothing if you use DoD money for that.
I hate to break it to you, but that's the exact policy that Kamala Harris ran on. Oh, that's the exact policy Kamala Harris ran on. That's what Joe Biden ran on. But Republicans and conservative Democrats always block it because you need like 60 votes to do stuff like that. And even the border bill that was very conservative, like that border bill that they tried passing during Biden's administration, that super conservative one, I don't think it included a direct path to citizenship, but they still voted it down because Republicans right now with immigration, it really is about domination and power and control and propaganda. They don't really care about making America safe. They don't care about immigrants. They care about dividing us and bypassing human and constitutional rights. So I definitely agree with you. What you just said would be my ideal like bipartisan plan, but Republicans don't care about that bipartisan plan. And even right now with all these Venezuelans being sent to El Salvador, many of them had no criminal record. Many of them actually were completely innocent asylum seekers trying to get away from gangs. And now they're in a concentration camp, a death camp, where they're going to get tortured. And these are completely innocent people. We violated their constitutional rights, and people think, it's okay because if you support them, you're supporting violent criminals. No, once you detain someone and you have them shackled and handcuffed, they're no longer a threat to anyone. But even on that issue, Republicans are completely burning the Constitution. So I agree with you, man. But
yeah, it's dark times. I know they would have deported them anyways somehow, but as soon as you start just ignoring federal judges.
The labor camp though in El Salvador is completely different level. Going to like the labor camp they got sent to is one of the biggest prisons in the world. It is a concentration camp, and there's there's great people that were sent there. One person in particular, his wife, he went to his regular scheduled meetings with ICE, and he never came home. His wife is right now doesn't know where he is. They have no record of names. There's a chance he's there in a concentration camp. This guy that followed every legal process, came here the right way, seeked proper asylum, a reasonable claim, was here on asylum, doing everything that he was told, going for every appointment, and there's a chance he's in a concentration camp now. And Americans don't care. Some Americans do, but I would say as a challenge, Americans that do care, and if you're not speaking up, you are complicit. You are doing this. You voted for this. You are doing this. And if you are happy about these constitutional rights being violated, congratulations. You're on the Nazi Germany side of politics today. And I feel like we just need to say that they're following every argument about multiculturalism, about surpassing or bypassing the constitutional order. They're falling to every argument that led us to that. And I feel like we just need everyone that cares about this issue to be as forceful as possible in messaging and sharing information about this right now.
Yeah, it's messed up.
Scary times.
Mm-hmm.
I do agree with your
man.
solution, though. I would definitely tell as many people that solution as possible because Republicans agree with that solution, by the way. But the issue is they buy into the Republican propaganda more, largely because Republicans are willing to be more, I won't say racist, but they do. Yeah, they do show scary pictures of brown people a lot to push their message.
Yeah,
but the majority of America does agree with you, though.
Just the stupid thing of the wall, man. The money you spend on the wall, you can hire so many border agents. You can give jobs to veterans, and it all works out.
Oh, but they're firing 100,000 veterans. They're firing like 100,000 veterans, and also we're paying El Salvador, I think $6 million for 300 people to keep them in prison. We're paying El Salvador $6 million now. So I mean, use the money at home.
They're gonna love that deal.
Yep,
every time they send people there, it's just a check that they get.
Yep, and they're happily violating the Constitution. I appreciate the call, and keep on pushing that message as much as possible, and hopefully someday Americans wake up.
All right, man. Take care.
All right, have a good one, man. All right, who's up? Let's go. Come on through. Share the stream to your Reddit and your 4chans, whatever the hell sites you guys are on. Here, I'm refreshing the page right now. Nice. Beautiful. If you support the show, please drop a like and subscribe. Drop likes, share it to Facebook pages and stuff you're a part of. Hopefully we can get some people in here. Watch him. Help the algorithm be boosted. Oh, there you go.
Call from
Milo.
Hello. Howdy. You're on the line if you can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Awesome. What's up?
Sorry, let me close the stream real quick. So I was just scrolling through some YouTube, saw your channel in live, came through, saw your video. What would you like? Why would you think that Trump supporters are racist?
Because right now Trump supporters are okay with constitutional rights being violated and disappearing people who may be innocent. And I think it's largely because the people being deported, or not even deported, but basically kidnapped, are not white. And there's someone from like Chicago that is not white that got detained by ICE, who's a U.S. citizen, got detained for 10 hours and released with no documentation of how he got arrested. I think Americans are more accepting of these violations of rights because it's mostly being focused on people who are not white right now.
Okay, interesting. Do you think that kind of like pertains to illegal immigration? And actually,
It's
before
a
you
nuanced
answer that,
conversation.
but before you answer that, I'm gonna just preface this. I am a Republican, but I figured that I'd give you a call and see your side of the perspective.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so I just want to kind of try and hear the other side's perspective on this situation.
Perfect. That's the point of the show, so it sounds good to me, man.
Yeah. So I mean, you said I can't really say that I don't have numbers on who's white and who's not white, but I would assume that probably the majority is not white, but there are still people from other countries that are classified as white coming into this country as well.
I agree. There's that guy in New Hampshire that got beat up by our customs, our ICE, violently interrogated by our border officials. Fabian Schmidt going into New Hampshire. He's a German national. So yeah, there are some white immigrants as well being targeted. But I think all the imagery the White House uses, they never show a picture of a white immigrant being deported. It's always someone who's not white. And in my opinion, that's because they're trying to get people mad about race issues. So they don't pay attention to the rights violations that are happening. But we can go more into immigration if you want. Like more, I know people. The big claim I hear is often, for example, when I talk about the due process required for like the Venezuelan people that were deported to El Salvador. When I talk about due process, people say to me, "Oh, you're defending these violent criminals." What do you think about that?
Yeah, that's a fair argument.
Why would that be a fair argument if I'm talking about due process?
I mean, yeah. I would say it's a pretty tough situation. I mean, I think if you, and like I said, Republican, I live on the southern border and I'm 5 minutes from Mexico. So for me, this is kind of this was my number one issue in the election. I'm
talking about due process though. So like, for example, not just deporting someone off an allegation and sending them to like a El Salvador labor camp.
Well, I couldn't tell you if it's a labor camp if they're, shipping someone off that way. But, I would say deporting someone back to their home country would be relatively okay. But if you're going to deport them to a different country than their home country, that could be construed as like an issue. But,
Well, the big issue is there were over 200 people deported to El Salvador. It was not even a real deportation. It was completely
it was the plain issue with the judge a couple days ago or last night or something like that, right?
Yeah, but there were innocent people on that plane grouped in, and now they're in a death camp essentially in El Salvador, the most brutal prison probably in the world, one of the most brutal prisons outside of North Korea and China, and Russia. So like the big issue here is that they did like someone, for example, one person had a court date scheduled. They're a tattoo artist. They had a completely legal asylum claim. Okay, they had a court date. The day after, they got shipped to this like death camp essentially, and they were never allowed to go to the courts. And being someone that was here on asylum from Venezuela with tattoos, they're a tattoo artist, and they said that this person's a gang member because of the tattoos, without actually verifying what the tattoos are. They were going to bring evidence of what the tattoos are to the court, but they were never given a chance to. So this person was deported to this death camp. Another example of a story is someone who was recently married. His wife said that he went to his normal, so he's doing routine checkups with ICE, and he went to an ICE checkup, and he never came home. And now she thinks that he was shipped off to a death camp in El Salvador. So those two stories alone is why, you know, due process is a thing in America, and violating due process is super anti-American. And that's why the judge said turn the plane around, because we should not be sending innocent people who are doing it the right way. Because I hear Trump supporters and Republicans always say, do it the right way, seek asylum legally, come through, you know, whatever. We should not be sending them to these death camps, because that's for the gang members. So it's not a normal deportation. It's more like a kidnapping. With no due process. Like that's my biggest issue here, is that I don't see people standing up for basic constitutional rights or due process or anything. They're just happy to get them out of our country, and they're just grouping in everyone together. And I think a lot of that's because of their race and nationality.
No, I get your perspective on that. Only two. I have two questions for you. The two people you just brought up, do you know if they came into the country legally or illegally? That's
you know what?
question.
I would love to know that, but we can't. And again, there should be due process for this exact reason.
No,
you know?
no, I get that. No, for sure.
And regardless,
And,
even if they came in illegally, there's still legal asylum claims if you cross the border through a non-port of entry. There's still legal asylum claims. You go through a court system for that, but it's still legal. Even if you don't come through a legal port of entry. And regardless, even if they did not get their asylum claim met, shipping them off to a labor camp in El Salvador of all places, is definitely not good.
No, yeah, I can understand what you're saying. My second question is, why do you use the term death camp? Just wondering.
Because El Salvador has the most brutal labor camps in the world.
This will preface to my next conversation.
Because they do executions. It's a hardcore labor camp, only found in like North Korea and Russia, but El Salvador has that as well. We're paying like $6 million for these people to go there, to El Salvador. So yeah, people are executed there all the time, tortured and forced to work violent labor until they die and they're malnourished. So yeah, it's for an innocent person that took asylum steps, especially terrible.
Okay, yeah. The only reason I have kind of an issue with sorry about that, with your use of the term death camp, just because my mother-in-law, she was in the death camp in the 1940s, and I think
you should be even more against what's happening then. It's at least a concentration camp. It's a brutal prison. It's an extremely brutal prison where they torture people and do forced labor. It's a labor camp for sure. So you should definitely be against this.
Until I see evidence of, concentration camps or death camps, which
look up El Salvador prison. You could look up the max facility prison they went to. It's terrible conditions, and it is a labor camp by definition. El Salvador is known for this.
Well, if it's a labor camp, then you should classify it as a labor camp, not a death camp. I mean,
if there's torture, forced labor, and executions, then it fits every criteria, and malnourishment, it fits every criteria.
I mean, I'm just going to be completely honest. Have you seen some of the prisons here in America as well?
This is nothing in comparison to prisons in America. This is a really, really, really bad case.
Trust me.
I don't know why you're playing defense for this. I mean, especially with your mother's history, playing defense for this is the same as stuff that got her into that camp. I hope you understand that. I don't mean to be offensive with that, but you playing defense right now is defending that.
I'm not trying to play defense. I'm just asking questions. That's all.
Yeah, they were asking questions as well when they put people in death camps. Yeah, they were just asking questions too. But I need to make sure that we understand. You're playing defense for this practice, and we don't know anything about these people. We don't have any record of their names. So the innocent people that we just shipped off and made a propaganda video about, it's really bad. I think it's really bad. Due process is a big thing.
The reason we don't know anything about these people is because, like I said, I live 5 minutes from the border, and I've been to the
multiple of them had court cases. They had court cases pending. They still shipped them to this camp.
I've been to the mass dump sites of their IDs and everything, to where they just throw it, in Mexico, toss it right across the border, and no one knows who they are.
Okay, so the people that they're sending over who have court cases pending, what about them that are in the legal asylum seeking process?
Do we know who they are?
Yes, we have this is what I mean with Trump. This is why I call you guys racist, because you can't even like say, yeah, that's a bad thing.
No, I think that due process is good.
Anyone who
But
actually
for the-
thinks that would stand against this administration 100%, what they're doing.
I might disagree on that, but I can understand your perspective.
Yeah, because you don't really believe in that. You're
I don't
okay
really
with
believe in it.
dismissing it. You're okay with not doing due process, with going against constitutional rights. What do you think about the Colombia kid they detained?
The Colombia kid, I have not heard of
The
this Colombia kid.
pro-Palestine supporter, Khalil? Or Khalil?
Maybe I'll remember it. Explain the situation to me.
Pro-Palestine demonstrator at Columbia University detained by ICE a couple weeks ago.
Oh, this is the kid with the green card, right?
Yeah, green card holder.
I'll probably disagree with that, because we live in America and we have the right to free speech, and I think that just because you are expressing your values or speech or anything like that, I don't think you should have your right to be in this country denied. But if you are, and I'm not saying this person was doing that, if you're inciting violence or anything like that, I think that might be a reasonable thing to have your green card denied. But just because you're having your free speech in America, I don't think that might be a reason to have your green card denied.
Yeah, I agree. First Amendment still applies for them. I have not seen any evidence that they said anything pro-Hamas. I've seen understanding statements from them about, being in Palestine and having no other option, stuff like that. But they're putting this person as a terrorist sympathizer.
Let's not get into that Israel-Palestine issue, because that might take 3 or 4 hours. But
well, no, I'm not saying about that, but just in terms of like what they're doing unilaterally, and bypassing, rights and disappearing him, no warrant, no reason for arrest, refusing habeas corpus or even, where is he? Right to talk to a lawyer, that kind of stuff was denied for I think like 48 hours. His pregnant wife did not know where he was even taken, shipped 10 states away. This administration is just like using their executive power in the most far-reaching way since I've seen, since we saw probably back in, I'd probably say Vietnam protest, to be honest, 60s and 70s.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd call disappearing a good term to use, honestly. I get what you're saying in the terms of how he was arrested.
What would you call that if like federal agents show up to your house in plain clothes, they refuse to give you any names, they don't give any warrant, they don't give a cause for arrest, they say first we're taking your visa, then it's like, oh shit, you have a green card, we're taking that too. They take him in a 10 states away. They don't tell the wife where he is. They don't tell the legal, his attorney where he is. They don't say literally anything at all until a few days later when the attorney can finally talk to him. And he's in Louisiana, and they purposely took him to a court that's really anti-immigrant. Like that is disappearing someone for 2 days, objectively, with no record of it.
It kind of sounds like he was under arrest, and then once he was put through
It's not under arrest if there's no cause for arrest or a warrant. It's not legal. It's not legal.
No, fair enough. Think what you want. But from my perspective, it sounds like he was just kind of put under arrest and then was held, because you can hold someone for 48 hours until you have to legally either let them go or give them, access to their lawyer or a phone call or anything like that. So I like I said, you brought up this case with this guy, and I have what's the exact word for it?
No, so it's actually against the Sixth Amendment. 48 hours is any time is against the Sixth Amendment.
Okay.
Yeah. Once they're in custody,
so
they have the right to an attorney before being moved 10 states or questioned. But they're doing it like they're calling it a terrorism-related incident, and they're also saying he participated in anti-American speech, which is really scary to me if they're going to be jailing people over un-American speech and with no due process.
Yeah, no, I can get that. Like I said before, I mean, I'm all about Constitution, free speech, everything like that. So for me, that if it comes down to it, to where they are illegally violating his rights, that guy's got a good court case, and he's got to go through due process and legal laws and everything like that. That's perfectly fine. Do what you have to do. But I mean, like I said, this is kind of like can't remember the exact word for it. I've barely heard about this case up until maybe yesterday, so that's kind of why I didn't really know much about it.
Yeah, I mean, every day there's a new blatant overreach of executive power that we haven't seen for a long time since like Woodrow Wilson. So it's a crazy time.
Oh, don't get me started on Woodrow Wilson.
Well, as far as like Sedition Act and as far as Alien Enemies Act, which was like the first sedition act that Adams did, like Trump's using both of those things to jail his political opponents in speech he doesn't like, and he's saying it's anti-Semitic speech mainly, cracking down on anti-Israel speech first, and then like moving it over to un-American speech. So like Trump is right now taking the most systemic and also like a sledgehammer to the First Amendment, the biggest I've ever seen in my lifetime. So.
All right, fair enough.
And colleges, if they have protests you don't like, they're gonna take away their fund. It's just.
No, go ahead.
Taking away funding from colleges and going after law firms he doesn't like, and trying to go after media companies and suing pollsters and threatening these tech companies so they pay him directly to make sure they stay safe. It's a mafia business. That's probably the function of tariffs too, is to be more corrupt and offer exemptions from it. It's just the scary time.
I don't know much about that, but the only things I can think of is like defamation. If they're actually defaming a person, I mean, you have legal recourse on that, which I can understand, but I'm not sure exactly what legal recourse they're taking currently on certain media outlets, I guess I could say, if you have like a specific example.
Well, I mean, they've already gone after the license of multiple companies, and like they made the 60 Minutes release the full Kamala interview, which is just stupid. And they've just been doing a lot of. It was what?
I said I don't think it was a very good interview, was it? But I mean,
No, but releasing the full thing didn't really change anything about what was said. And Trump has had much heavier edited interviews, and that's within someone's First Amendment right. But companies need to bow down to these federal agencies now, and Trump's using them as weapons. And yeah, it's scary if you're gonna have lawsuits coming after you. Trump saying he could just like take away presidential pardons and.
Yeah, that one specifically for me, I heard that this morning. I don't understand how that would work at all, because once you're pardoned, it's kind of like take off the handcuffs, you're free to go, I don't.
Well, I'll tell you like why my brain is in such a bad place is because I know a lot about policy, and everything Trump says sounds like that. Every single thing he says about any policy. You can ask me before you get off here if you have any question about any policy for why I disagree with Trump. I mean, first term you could bring up a few things he did right, but second term I think he's just taking a wrecking ball to everything that America is founded on.
What did you okay, if you don't mind me asking, what did you like about his first term?
I thought the USMCA was bad, which he now hates because he hates Canada. It's crazy in an interview today. He said that Canada's untrustworthy.
He doesn't hate Canada.
In an interview tonight, he said Canada cheats. They're terrible to work with. Meanwhile, we should open up more trade with Russia. He said in an interview tonight. He wants more trade with Russia, less trade with Canada, which is insane.
Real quick, so I can watch it tonight. Do you have where it was at, so I can watch it?
Yeah, Trump, Russia. Let me see.
Just to be well informed, honestly.
Let me see if I could find the channel again. I forgot who the interviewer was.
Yeah, of course.
Let's see.
No, because if I hear that,
it was on Fox. It was on Ingram. It was on the Ingram show on Fox.
Laura Ingram.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'll check it out.
But yeah, USMCA was fine. What was it called? The first step was a bipartisan bill that he signed.
First step was pretty good, I thought. I think people being locked up for first-time offenders for like marijuana, I think that's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's been a left cause for a long time, and a libertarian and left probably. So it's good that got passed. It should probably be done on a broader scale, but that was good. And also the USMCA is probably the two things I go to from the first term.
Okay, cool. And 2 more questions for you. Would you give it longer than, I think, what it's been, like 60 days since he's been in? Would you give it a little bit longer than 60 days to judge what he's done so far, and then maybe see some good stuff coming down the pike? Or are you solidly stated in your position right now?
I don't even have positions against Trump because he doesn't say anything that makes any like sense in reality, nor does Musk. But it's one of those things. Like Elon Musk has this thing where he lied to the entire gaming world about being a top-ranked video gamer in this one video game. And he said this to Joe Rogan on a bunch of podcasts.
Diablo 3. It's okay. I'm not.
Yeah, but it wasn't Diablo
3.
3. It was the other game. I forget what it was called. It was another game he said he was top ranked. But then he actually played it, and people realized, holy shit, he sucks at this game. There's no way he played it. And it came out that he actually paid someone to grind his account for him. But he had the entire podcast world and the entire world believing he's a world-class video game player. That's what Musk is doing with the government. So like Doge is completely fake. They have not done anything with waste, fraud, or abuse. There's a reason there's no receipts on anything that's actually waste, fraud, or abuse. They just bring up like line items that Republicans get mad about that are like doing with social issues. They bring up culture war topics from that, but they have not given any waste, fraud, or abuse. They want to cut a lot of our programs like Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. They're going for a lot of reductions right now. They're making Social Security. They're cutting phone operators from Social Security. So if you're old, you have to use the smartphone website, which is probably going to suck. But it takes like 5 hours to get on the phone with someone to Social Security. They're closing, I think, like half the field offices for Social Security, which is not even budget saving, but that's just insane. But also like everything Trump says about tariffs or economics or Zelensky being a dictator or Canada being unfair at trade or tariffs making us rich, or the fact that he said he's above all law and he is the living constitution, and basically saying he should be king. The attacks he's doing at the judicial branch right now, saying we should impeach any judge that disagrees with him, saying that they don't need to follow any court orders from federal judges. That's like so blatantly unconstitutional, and he is eroding every single part of our free society, of our due process, our democratic order. Every part of our society that is good, he is convincing people to throw it all away, and like it's very intentional. And it's scary seeing Americans fall for these arguments. And JD Vance was just on TV saying that multiculturalism was collapsing society, which is literally just copied from Mein Kampf. So I don't know.
Okay, I'm going to add one extra question in there. What would you hope that Donald Trump does in the next 3 years and I guess at this point like 10 months, 9 months?
I hope the American people push back enough so he stops violating laws.
No. What would you hope that he does for the country to better our country?
I hope he stops violating laws in the Constitution and convincing people to agree with him when he says he should have ultimate power. If he stops trying to be a dictator, I'll be very, very, very... Or if he stops saying Ukraine's a dictatorship, if he stops supporting Russia and China globally and hating Canada and Europe, then I'll be happy. But right now, there's literally nothing... He's not trying to do good things. He's trying to do bad things to give more money to really rich people, including crash the economy, which is only going to benefit the ultra-rich that can buy the economy once it all crashes. So yeah, I mean, there's nothing he can possibly... Nothing right now that he's doing right now can possibly go well. You could try to bring up one policy that can go well that he's trying to do. He's not focusing on actual immigration policy. In fact, he's deporting legal immigrants and green card holders and legal asylum seekers to El Salvador labor camps. We're not talking at all about fixing the actual immigration system whatsoever. We're just like going after Palestine protesters. Did you know that a lot of ICE agents got moved off of their child trafficking unit to go investigate anti-Israel sentiment on social media? Like, nothing good is happening right now. Yeah, and Republicans are not seeing this information because the social media bubbles don't show them it. And, like, you could say whatever you want about liberals, but I hate Democrats too. But I definitely vote for them in a heartbeat over what the hell's happening right now.
Well, I
do appreciate the conversation.
I stopped using social media like 7 years ago, so I don't get any. Yeah,
don't
no,
watch
for
Joe
sure.
Rogan either.
GRE's nice. I like watching the Protect Our Parks podcast. They're funny.
Well, Joe Rogan just had a Holocaust denier on, so don't watch that one.
Who was that?
I forget his name. Well, he had Ian Carroll on and another one, but they both said that Hitler was a good guy that just loved his country. That did a couple bad things. He just loved Germany really bad. He loved the German people, so he put them all into a meat grinder and killed half the population in a war. That's how much he loved them. But Joe Rogan's like, yeah, it makes sense.
Oh, well, I'm gonna have to go watch those ones.
Oh, JD Vance also. JD Vance's best friend is a neo-Nazi too. Jack Posobiec, Steve Bannon is an actual neo-Nazi. A couple White House advisors are neo-Nazis. The leader of the White House anti-Semitic whatever unit, the anti-Semitism unit, he's also someone who wanted to Nazify America. So I'll try. I should probably collect all of this information in one place because people don't know what these people in power actually do, and I really want to be able to show people the information because I like talking to you. Like I want to be able to talk to people like you who are reasonable. Because usually, I mean, I've had people call in and say that Trump won 80% of the vote, that Joe Biden's going to jail for purposely opening the border to attack America, that Donald Trump is in a secret plan to take over the entire I don't know, Greenland and all these countries. People say the wildest shit. So I want to get all this stuff together. I appreciate you calling in.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm glad that you actually talked. I mean, a lot of people that I know in my personal space don't want to have conversations about, across the line politics. And I mean, clearly we disagree. I voted for Trump in 16, 20, and 24. I think he was the best candidate. I think he did some good stuff. But I mean, I'm always more than welcome to hear other people's perspectives.
Wait, do you have any examples of any Democrats that you like or any policies that Democrats want that you like?
Honestly, if Tulsi Gabbard in 2020 would have been the candidate, I would have voted for her.
What about people who are actually Democrats and not just power-hungry buttheads like Tulsi?
Oh, come on.
She switched political parties. She switches political parties more than... never mind, I can't say that.
You could probably say it. It's fine. I had to shut off the YouTube video so I could hear.
No, she's national intelligence now. But regardless, any actual Democrats that are Democrats and not just like... I mean, she was a Bernie bro, then she endorsed Biden over Bernie, then she endorsed Trump. She's just here for power. But regardless, okay, actual Democrats today, are there any that you think are like, okay, I think they care about people? Or do you like policies on, like, I don't know, any type of healthcare policy you like, or taxing the insanely wealthy at all? Do you like any Democrats today at all? Do you like a Bernie Sanders at all, or any of them? Or think like any of them are decent?
The taxing portion, I would say I disagree with taxing the wealthy. Just my honest opinion. I think, like I know my tax bracket. I pay, I think, way too much. I think I should pay less, to be completely honest. I think we should probably eliminate federal tax since, we just print money willy-nilly. If I had to support a Democrat, and I'm not just going to say AOC because she's good looking. I did like Kirsten Sinema when she was a Democrat because she seemed kind of middle of the road. I'd probably say, what's his name from West
John
Virginia?
Fetterman.
Oh, yeah, John Fetterman's coming around. He seems fairly reasonable. What's the guy's name from West Virginia, the senator?
Joe Manchin.
Yeah. I like to kind of meet people in the middle, is what I should say. And if you're in the middle and you're kind of reasonably able to go to a little bit to the right, a little bit to the left, I think that's cool. I think if you're far left, it's a little too much. If you're far right, I think it's a little too much. Both sides. I don't think they should be going that too crazy.
Okay, well, I appreciate the conversation. I hope to see you around the channel. Maybe I can convince you on a couple things. If you stop by every now and then, I usually stream around 9 or 10 p.m. Eastern time, usually at nighttime because busy during the day.
West Coast, so.
Oh, it's like 2 p.m. for you right now. Oh, yeah, but thank you for the call. Appreciate it.
It's like 8 p.m. So what's the... shout out yourself. What's the channel name? Because like I said, I only got it was a YouTube short. I was going through that and I saw yours and I was like, oh, I'll pop in, see what's going on.
Jolah Talks Politics.
Jolah?
Yep, Jolah. It's a nickname. Talks Politics. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, man. I'll check you out. I'll keep listening and, if I have a disagreement, I'll call you back.
All right, sounds good, man. Have a good one.
Hey, man, you have a good night.
Man, the cinema killed me, bro. The cinema killed me. The cinema killed me. I'm not gonna lie. The cinema killed me. The cinema killed me, bro. The cinema killed me. I can't deal with the cinema. I just can't do it. Too much cinema out here. Hi, are you trying to call into the show, Mr. Malcolm?
Oh yeah, what's up? Can
I'm
you
gonna
hear me?
drag you into the. If you're trying to call in, I'll drag you to the other chat. I'm just confirming.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you good. I'll drag you into the other chat.
All right.
He's gonna sit there all night. Good luck, buddy. Please drop a like and subscribe to the stream if you enjoy this channel at all. Please donate to Jolah Politics on Venmo, Cash App, and PayPal. JOLAH Politics. You can see it up on the screen. Really helpful to support this. Again, they're gonna come after people. Support independent media as much as you can if you have money. If you don't have money, don't do it though. If you are living paycheck to paycheck, do not donate. But if you are not doing that, then donate. Please. Thank you. Appreciate you guys. Like and subscribe. Howdy, what's up?
All right, what's up? Yeah, first of all right, yeah. Before I say anything, so I'm actually on your side. Like I'm a leftist, and if this is strictly for debate, if you're looking for like MAGA people, I guess you can move on, find somebody else to like
If you
talk to.
have like disagreements on things like strategy or disagreements on ideology, if you're, because I'm not a leftist, so if there's anything that you want to talk about when it comes to, I don't know, usually it's like third party voting or another topic like healthcare, I'm good with those conversations. It just can't be like a ass kissing festival.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. Yeah, yeah, that last dude, by the way, my God, I mean, sucking off Kirsten and Joe Manchin,
Oh, that
pretty
killed me. That,
insufferable.
that that killed me. That really killed me. He's like, I'm not gonna say AOC just because he's hot. I'm like, oh god, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, so no, I just discovered your channel recently, and I saw you had a conversation with Destiny. This was many years ago, and you were talking about strategy and about like media literacy and stuff like that, and just like populist rhetoric.
Yeah.
Um, and I guess what I'm curious about is like, he's really on this very stubborn front of like, you know, the whole billionaire rhetoric is very reductionist, and reducing all the problems to the billionaires is like, it's a real issue. Like
I
it's
saw him say that.
counterintuitive, and yeah, like I'm kind of curious, like just, you know, what is your take on that? I guess based off what you saw, like,
It's
uh,
very, very dumb. It's insanely dumb. I saw him say that multiple times. It's a really dumb take. That's a take you have if you only stay on the internet and you just hate online leftists, and if you don't talk to real people, because real people, definitely are receptive to the anti-billionaire arguments, especially super billionaires. There's a difference between someone that has $1 billion versus $300 billion, and I call them ownership class. I don't say like oligarchs or robber baron or all those words people don't understand. They're the ownership class. They decide where you go to work. They decide how you work. They decide your healthcare, your kids' healthcare. They decide everything about our society. They buy politicians. And I know it's not that straightforward, and Destiny, you probably get mad about that. But money in politics is obviously a big issue. And I think I said something about that to him at least once or twice a few years ago. But yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I think it'd be great. Again, like not to get like an ass kissing thing here, but like I think you and him should definitely try to have some sort of conversation, because I do think the fact that you're like you have a background, you write policy, and you are apparently, and you have a master's and everything. I feel like because I think like things are really heating up, because I used to be I was more so like hardcore leftist, kind of like Kyle Kulinski pilled, like I was really in that camp. And then I was kind of like oscillating between like him and Destiny, and this whole like conversation around billionaires and money in politics. I think it's like he has such a big grip, I think, on like he has a lot of influence on the left. And um I just I think the whole conversation of like money in politics and billionaire rhetoric is very important right now. and I think it's
Yeah.
a major blind spot
And
for
it's a
him.
big
And I
median
see
voter
this.
issue too. It's a median voter issue, and that's a big thing to focus on is median voters. We're not thinking about Democrats. We're not thinking about Republicans. They don't matter. Democrats are going to vote Democrat. Republicans are going to vote Republican. They're going to be institutionalist or anti-establishment people. So the people in the middle are very, very receptive to anti-billionaire arguments. I know people that never voted before that only voted for Kamala because she talked about price gouging. Now, if you ask someone on the online left, including him, Destiny, it'll be like, that's not even a real policy. And billionaires are actually good. Like, it's no. When people hear you're anti-price gouging, it means I am on your side, the people's side. I am against big money interests, which says a lot. And that's how you divert people in populist eras. FDR denied, like white nationalism in America during that period was super powerful. FDR denied them by using the radio waves effectively and by using super strong rhetoric. And the New Deal was not even a substantial policy push. It was more of a ideological shift that lasted even after FDR was president. So during populist eras, you need to engage in populist rhetoric to some extent. Even if you are a reformist or a pro-institutional person, you need to at least talk about truly reforming the system to be better, because the money in politics is ridiculous. And European countries would agree, Canada would agree. So when he's like, no one's receptive to the billionaire arguments, it's such a dumb, pathetic take when he does that. And my debate versus Destiny, you could just tell that really big adherence to being politically ineffective. And only caring about arguments that he likes. If I cared about, by the way, if I cared about only my perspective, then I would not be saying this. But I care about what I hear from people and what other people will receive as influential, especially median voters that don't pay attention to politics that much. That's how you get the Joe Rogans and Theo Vaughns on your side, by the way, is this like populist rhetoric and at least some policy to back it up. You don't need to be a socialist. You don't need to be like Sam Seder and say no billionaires should exist, but you need to have a policy that's truly defining yourself, a wedge issue. Republicans create so many wedge issues. You need a wedge issue that's going to truly diverge you from Republicans and really show people that you are on their side for sure.
Yeah, man. I think a common argument I hear from people on his side too is that, like for instance, you were talking about FDR, and they talk about FDR in terms of like his authoritarian tendencies, which is true that like he expanded the Japanese internment camps, and he did expand the power of the executive branch in many ways. And I'm sure there's all kinds of legal arguments you can make in terms of like the way he pushed back against like judicial powers or congressional powers. But ultimately, it's like, had he not done that, in my opinion, it would have led to an even greater push towards authoritarianism or fascism. And I feel like, that's one thing I've run into, like just in terms of like talking to people in some of those circles. I don't know if you have much of a background
FDR tried packing the courts, but he never like denied court orders. He was still an institutional. He was still in favor of the democratic republic or the constitutional republic. And we're lucky we got someone like FDR who had a good microphone, a very strong, very powerful with the mic at that time. We are very lucky. We are very lucky we had someone who was more pro freedom. And now Trump is doing things that FDR did that were like considered like racist and terrible, like the internment camps. But at least in FDR's case, it was in 1940s. America got bombed in wartime, actual wartime. Now Trump is trying to do the same thing and say it's wartime outside of wartime. So I think given the circumstances, referencing the history is important for education purposes. But given the state of the world at the time, FDR was a devout progressive for sure.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I feel like, I love hearing your conversations with all these MAGA people. And I think that like having, I understand like people think, oh, if we're all this lefty infighting or like conflicts between the libs and the leftists is kind of like
that killed MAGA, dude. MAGA, dude, after Trump was so negative and chaotic, Trump definitely is out of politics now because of all the infighting.
Is that sarcasm?
Yeah, it is because everyone's conflict's bad. It's like, no, bro, that's called free advertising. You need to have an actual narrative and a point to drive home, and you need someone with the intangibles to message on it, like an AOC, even like John Ossoff, or even I would even say Andy Brashear. I saw him talking. He's pretty quick on his feet, but his message is more of just like a love everyone mentality, which he has a 65% approval rating in freaking Kentucky, which is a 65% Trump state. So we need to take things that work. And yeah, but what were you gonna say about infighting?
No, it's so. First of all, yeah, with John also, it's so sad because he's a good-looking dude. He's young and he has charisma. And it's sad that like he doesn't quite have like the bold progressive like that combative energy. I guess like he's not. Yeah. I guess what I really mean is like, do you feel like it's worth it for you to like step into the ring with somebody like Destiny or somebody like some of these more centrist circles? Or do you think that it's better to just like hammer down on these MAGA people or like uh just like really just pump out progressive content and focus on that? Like in
Yeah.
terms of like making an impact.
Well, my big theory of change, you need people moving society, and we talk about this in my Discord a lot. All of us need to do whatever we can to move society in a better direction. So if we all move in the right direction, we still need people at the top messaging. People at the top will set the tone. So like an AOC is very influential, very charismatic, and she's really on point with her messaging. It can inspire people to carry out the same messaging in their communities. So, you know, care for others, fight against the super powerful. It inspires people to act in certain ways. You say things, people think differently, and they act differently. So I think there is a lot of worth in fighting. I think there's tons of worth in it. And for me, for example, I mean, with someone like that, I just do it to boost my platform. Because I know my strategies are better. I know my strategies are far better for actually growing a voter base of people that are median voters and not like political junkies on YouTube. And there's something to be said for the debate bros who like go into these internet spaces on all these weird ass websites and get the internet to be a little bit, you know, less bad because they're at least going in these spaces. But I would say that my message is far more transferable to the general public that does not know who Hassan or Vaush or Destiny or all these online people are. And my channel used to be that, by the way. My channel, like when I debated him years ago, I used to do that. The online, it just poisons your brain. Like half the time it's like, the lefties think this. It's like, no, actually, when you look at polls and Americans think that Democrats are too liberal, they just mean that Democrats like present as like effeminate and like, you know, they overthink things. And they're like, they say pronouns all the time. They don't mean economic policy when we look at these polls. But I feel like the online people that are super online don't really get that. And I'm actually out there in the real world doing a lot of this work, not only during big campaigns and not only to bring my like, you know, if I even had a viewer base to do that. But it's just a different experience when you're doing it from the bottom, not making any money doing it, and when you're like an actually poor person doing it as well, or at least like working class. It definitely gives you a different insight.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I feel like yeah, I really like the work you're doing. Again, yeah. I guess one last thing too, I get before I go is I do think like I think a lot of it is just being able to speak in like very like human and like using analogies, using metaphors, using like specific reference points that like you know sometimes I look at people like Destiny or even like some of the more lib people like I don't know if you're familiar with like Dean or Harry Sisson or like some of these guys that are like lefty influencers, even Hassan to an extent, where like they
Yeah.
use a lot, like they just fire off bullet points. At least that's kind of how it feels like when you listen to them. Like it's like they're Chat GPT. Like they have like these fucking bullet points statistics that they just fire them off like fucking a machine gun.
I do that when I'm in
And
a bad mood.
yeah, and it's fair, like I get it, especially like when you're in the heat of the moment, but sometimes like being able to like tap into that humanity or being able to like relate with somebody on like a personal level, I feel is very important, and it's a lost art. And I think maybe
Yeah,
sometimes I
they're all
even
from
wonder if
freaking
it's like
yeah.
sometimes I even wonder if like that whole mode of conversation is totally not even conducive to like the format or the medium that we're
It's not
working in the
beneficial. It's really
digital
not
age.
beneficial
Yeah,
at all.
like
And they go on these podcasts. It doesn't matter if your message is not going to sound chill. Like Bernie, the way Bernie speaks, the way I would say, I've been listening to Andy Brashear a lot. The way they speak is very direct. It's very straightforward. Andy Brashear makes the appeal. And this is also a good thing to practice. If you're in politics or local organizing, do a lot of, like practice campaign speeches by yourself. Practice messaging so you know it's like an elevator speech when you meet someone. Andy Brashear will do the whole like I would probably say it's important to care for each other, and we need to love each other, because the only way our society is going to get better is if we all support the next person. It's not only doing good upon others, it's also because when we have a society that cares about our neighbors, your neighbors will also care about you. Like Andy Bashir will say that very directly, not bring up a bunch of policies, and that's why you should also love even LGBT plus people. And then, Bernie will say, listen, the system is very challenging, very corrupt, and there's billionaires. We need to make sure we support the working class people. It's not me, it's us. We all need to come together in our own communities and advocate for our own issues, and we're going to educate you on how to do that. It's very, very, very direct. It's not like, and then you compare it to Adam Schiff, who sounds like he's like reciting a scene from Hamilton and trying to, or Hakeem Jeffries is my favorite to quote, where he goes on TV and he quotes like, he usually says like, we're fighting for the foundational vision of America, like that kind of thing. And that doesn't work either. And then, like you said, the TikTok debaters, they go on these podcasts that are chill settings, and you have to be like, yeah, bro, I mean, I know how working class people, they deal with different things in life, and I don't think it's been served right by every politician, but we still need to all understand how these things work, because that's how we advocate for ourselves. So when I talk about these policies, when I went to school, when I worked for these organizations, I learned this policy to make sure I can advocate for myself, and so I could tell other people how to advocate for themselves as well, because we have a lot of shit going on, and they do lie to us a lot. And you have to present it like that, not just like, look at this economic data from GDP, and then Donald Trump did this, and then it just like doesn't work. So I definitely agree with that. And like I said, I go in and out of being effective. It's really if I decide to be effective that night, or if I'm in a bad mood or not. And what approach I'd take to having those conversations. But I do agree that having a bunch of TikTokers and Pod Save America, they're all from Massachusetts, New York, and California. I don't know any prominent media person who's from any swing state or any state that's not those three states, honestly.
Yeah, man, dude,
so
I'm from I'm in Ohio, and I was up at the Bernie rally recently and everything, and it really opened my eyes. I feel like, yeah, I've really been changing a lot politically, just kind of seeing everything going on. But anyway, yeah, thank you for taking the call. And
well, thank you for getting me my clip for my clickbait YouTube title, talking about Destiny, Dean, Harry Sisson. Yeah, it's gonna be a really good YouTube clickbait title. So I really appreciate the line of questioning there.
Yeah, for sure, man. All right.
Hope to see you around the Discord.
Yep.
We usually chat after I stream a little bit. I don't know if anyone's in there now, but you want to hop in there? Feel free. But yeah,
I'll pop on.
Thanks for hopping on.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Peace.
Yeah, peace. God, I hate America. God bless America. That's not that song. Yes. Okay, perfect. Please drop a like and subscribe. If you have any extra spare change, please consider donating to Jolah Politics on Venmo, Cash App, or PayPal. Jolah Politics, thank you for considering doing that. Really beneficial, really helpful for the show to grow and all that kind of stuff. If you want to guarantee a call in, you could donate $10 with your first name and your phone number to one of those applications. Or you can donate on Coffee. That's the link I have pinned to the chat. So I am going to restart my shorts stream. I have 2 streams running at all times, as many of you know. Go to the horizontal stream for a little bit. All right. I'm going to restart my short stream. We're going to go to the horizontal. I'm going to redirect you there when the stream ends. I have a horizontal stream and YouTube short stream running at the same time. All right. So I'll take more calls in 2 minutes. I have to get up and take a little breather, do a little circle around my tiny apartment. Okay. So go to my other stream on the same channel. It's on the same channel. I'll start up the stream again in probably by 11:30. I'll take another caller at 11:30 p.m. So if you're watching this and you want to call in literally 5 minutes, and you'll be first up. Okay, guys? Thank you.